When it comes to celebrating Christmas, or the holidays, or whatever you choose to call this particular time of year, the Sonic the Hedgehog games have always had a pretty arm's length approach. Sure, there were never a shortage of snowy or icy stages, and we even got DLC that added decorations to the hub world in Sonic Adventure. Not to mention the character costumes for multiplayer in Adventure 2 long before the similar DLC for Frontiers. But when it comes to Christmas and Christmas-themed stories, outside of all the awesome official art, that was always left to extended media like the cartoons and comics. These stories were often batshit crazy, but were always good for a laugh. So just for some seasonal kicks, I thought it might be cool to share one of these stories with you guys. A story that a young me read way back on the Christmas Eve of 1997. A story about that one time Sonic beat the jolly out of good old Santa Claus. So turn on your Christmas lights, pour yourself some noggy goodness, and let's laugh together as a kind old man gets bodied. It was a cold and windy December 24th night in 1997, and I was returning home from visiting relatives with my parents. We decided to drop into the local supermarket for some last-minute holiday supplies, as in Ireland all the stores are closed on Christmas Day. I just really wanted to get home and get to bed, so I could not sleep from excitement while I waited for Christmas morning. But it was a good thing I went into the store with them, because staring back at me from the magazine rack as I came through the door was this majestic-looking beast.
Oh, yeah.
If you lived in Ireland or the UK, you weren't really fazed by these designs in the Sonic comics. As the series went along, they generally tried to keep in line with the games, which ultimately led to an uncomfortable amount of time with 3D Blast Sonic. It was what it was. I had actually stopped collecting Sonic the comic a bit before this, but a Christmas issue seemed like the perfect way to finish out my Christmas Eve, and hopefully kill some time while waiting for the man himself. So when I got home, I dropped straight into Mobius to see how the blue guy was spending his Christmas. We opened to a snow-swept Emerald Hill zone on Christmas Eve, where, as the old saying goes, nothing was stirring. Nothing, that is, except for Vile Peter. Tapping on the bedroom window of children, he lures them toward him with talk of presents and nice food. Jesus, maybe he should have been called Peter Vile. Basically, he's a weirder version of Krampus. But instead of only punishing the bad children, he instead plans to abduct every child in Emerald Hill, jamming them all into his little enchanted jar. Thankfully though, he's caught by Sonic, who asks him what he's doing creeping around. Peter doesn't have a clue who Sonic is though, and getting all incredulous about it, Sonic's all like,
"Don't touch me, I'm famous."
Just then, all the parents of the missing children start to flood the streets in a panic, all desperately calling out to their kids. Sonic immediately puts two and two together and points the finger at Peter. But Peter is cunning, and hits Sonic with a face full of magic powder, knocking him down. Sonic gets back up and tries to retaliate, but Peter suddenly disappears, and he crashes his famous face straight into a wall. Just as Sonic is trying to figure out what the hell happened, a large figure in red robes tells him not to worry, that the situation is in the bag.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Tails is in awe getting to meet the real Santa Claus, but Sonic is more amused than anything else. When Tails asks him if he sees who it is, Sonic snarkily replies, yeah, some fat bloke in a coat. Oh, I forgot they used to make Sonic say things like bloke. I honestly forgot just how British they made this version of him, but more often than not, it just makes everything even funnier. I know this Sonic is not a lot of people's favorite, he is a lot more broody and mean, but in isolation, I think it works fine. I did grow up with it though, so maybe I would say that, so I'll let you guys judge for yourselves. Sonic doesn't buy for a second that this guy is the real Santa. He knows this is Robotnik in disguise and demands he release the children. Imposter Santa finds it hilarious that Sonic thinks he's Robotnik and delivers his signature ho ho ho. But this all but seals it for Sonic. The real Santa would never say ho ho ho. And despite protests from Tails, he scoop slams the guy by his beard. Spinning him around like a helicopter blade, he flings him straight into a pile of barrels, ass first. Slightly concerned at how well that beard was stuck on, Sonic starts to worry that he might have just manhandled the real Santa.
Oh shit, here we go again.
But unbelievably, this jolly soul takes it all in good fun, saying how he can't wait to tell all the elves back at his workshop. Santa begins to free all the children from Peter's jar, as he explains that at one time Peter was actually one of his best elves, but that something happened that turned him bad. He had been keeping him locked up in a cell, but somehow he escaped. That's a bit dark for Santa, isn't it? As Sonic and Tails watch Santa fly away in his sleigh, Sonic figures that after what he did, he can probably kiss this year's presents goodbye. But Tails says he wouldn't be so sure. And the scene ends with a shot of a big pile of presents with Sonic's name on them. I think one of the funniest things about this story is the weird messaging. It's almost like if you're famous, you can get away with whatever you like. But I think what they were going for is that if you're super good most of the time, then a few mistakes can be forgiven. Unlike the Christmas Blast cartoon special, or indeed Christmas specials for most things, at least it was a different angle than just helping or rescuing Santa. Instead, we got to see him get his ass kicked. To this day, I still can't explain it, but whenever I think of Christmas in the Sonic series, this is always the first story that pops into my mind. Maybe it was because I was at an age where most of your childhood memories stick with you, or maybe it was because it was such a different take on the theme, who knows. I think a lot of people sleep on this comic series, especially those of us outside of Ireland and the UK. Honestly, from the bits of Archie I've read over the years, if you guys can get through that, you'll definitely enjoy the Fleetway Sonic comic. Most, if not all, the extended cast get fleshed out with their own stories, and the narratives that build upon the stories of the classic games were always amazing. Plus, you had Megadroid, a sarcastic Mega Drive/Genesis designed robot, responding to mail from fans and giving out prizes. Despite great effort, I never made it into the comic, and my heart is still broken. All round, it's a very different tone than in the US comics, but there really are some amazing stories in this series, and I think anyone who doesn't give it a chance is missing out. But what did you guys make of it? Are you the kind of bloke or blokette who enjoyed it? Or was the tone too different for you? I'd also love to hear some of your favorite holiday moments in the Sonic series, so be sure to share those in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like. This helps me out a lot. And if you'd like to see more from me, subscribe to the channel and make sure to hit that bell. You can also join the channel Discord, follow me on Twitter, and you can support my work on Patreon by buying me a coffee or with a super thanks on YouTube. This is a massive help to me and a huge thank you to those of you who already have. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate it. All those links are in the description, so be sure to check them out if you can. But for now, a big thank you for watching and a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or just chilly winter to you all. And as always guys, take care.